Yo, 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 it's your friend Dinner Dog. And so Werewolf and Minotaur are kind of like the Ornstein and Smo of SotN. So in today's video, we're going to look at how do we beat the crap out of these guys every single time. So let's break down why do we even care about this fight, and why it's important. Let's take a deeper dive into what Minotaur and Werewolf are all about. And then how do we cheese this fight and essentially make it 100% safe 100% of the time. And we'll demonstrate how that works. So the reason why we care is we're probably going to have to do this fight early, or at least there's a possibility of doing it early. You're really not supposed to fight these guys when we can fight them in the randomizer because you'll get different relics and stuff. And especially if you get bat, you may find yourself in a position where you're fighting them early because going up to Auroch's quarters is fast. If you're playing the new Nimble preset, that's going to happen more often than not, especially if Minotaur and Werewolf are blocking a relic. So you've got to be prepared to be able to take that fight on with essentially nothing in low statistics. The bigger problem is they can kill you real easy. These guys have ended a lot of runs. They hit really, really hard. And just in general, the fight's kind of awkward with two of them there. They can be difficult to get in to put serious damage on them. And then, especially if they're both in the fight, they kind of synergize their attacks. And so I took this screenshot from the Castlevania wiki, and all of these shots are GIFs. So I'll link in the description to the actual article in the wiki to sort of so you can see it for yourself. But they really work well together. So it's hard to get in on them to attack, and then they're taking space from you all the time. So forget about just trying to kill them. Trying to live can be difficult enough, especially if you don't have like mist and power of mist, or you can wing smash through bat really quickly, etc. Right? So it's just an awkward time. It's a deadly time, but we can figure this out and navigate through it really effectively. So before we break down what the fight's all about, the just look at this here. Minotaur is definitely beefier than Werewolf by just a bit. So we're gonna take out Minotaur first, and you'll see why in a moment. Werewolf, neither of them have any weaknesses or resistances, and that is true even for the Werebane. The weapon's description suggests it's good against werebeasts, but which might be true because of the flurry attack. But that flurry attack is just as good against any other enemy in the game. There's no inherent benefit for using the Werebane. Whether you're using randomized damage or not, it's just going to do the damage that it advertises. So don't worry about finding that. The biggest thing about Minotaur and Werewolf in terms of their behavior is that if we skip the cutscene by just like pressing start, if we have a clear file, they're going to just stand still for like 3 or 4 seconds. So we can just pour damage onto them without them being able to do anything about it. And we're going to take heavy advantage of that. So if you don't have a clear file already, make sure you've got it. It's just going to make you faster in the randomizer regardless. But yeah, specifically for this fight, it makes it very approachable practically 100% of the time. So let's look at how we're going to do it. So in general, we're going to follow the strategy using the glitchless speedrun. And so that really works out to killing Minotaur first with our fists by skipping the cutscene. So first and foremost, your fists are really good. And as unintuitive as that might seem. So your fists can double hit if you're close enough to the enemy. You don't have to jump to achieve a double hit like you would with some other swords. And they attack really quickly. So even without the additional damage that a weapon would give you, they can out damage or out DPS other weapons if you have the opportunity to get in close and consistently hit them. The and with the fights effectively starting early by skipping the cutscene and Minotaur just standing around, well, they'll both stand around, but we're going to go after Minotaur first. You can just essentially kill them or kill Minotaur before the fight even starts. So we're going to do that. And the way we're going to do it here is we need to get close enough to Minotaur so that our punches are double hitting, but not too close that when we punch and extend our body forward, that we're taking touch damage from Minotaur. So there's a fine balance to be had there. So in the first screenshot to the left, you'll notice that what I use to sort of landmark things is this skull in the ground. So this distance here between Alucard's front foot once you start punching and this skull is pretty much as far away as you can be and still achieve the double hit. And then the one to the right is about as close as you could be in achieving the double hit. And if you kind of cross this green line here, which goes through the middle of the skull, you're likely to take touch damage from Minotaur, even if he hasn't started attacking yet. Now, the tricky part is you'd rather be closest to the right side rather than the left side, because if you don't kill Minotaur with your fists right away and his AI activates and he starts moving around, he's always going to start by moving backwards. And so the closer you are to him, the longer you can sustain those punches on him, even if it's just for a fraction of a second, without him being able to attack you. Sometimes you have to tap forward a bit to keep the punches going before he initiates his first attack. But regardless of your strength, you should be able to kill Minotaur if you execute on this well enough. So by staying close enough to him and just raining blows upon him. And we're going to demonstrate that in a bit. So that's the first part of the fight. And, or actually, before I move on, it can be a bit challenging to get to this ideal range because if you move forward with Alucard and you just use his standing animation as a guide, the animations or his front foot is different when he punches. It gets extended a bit. You lean forward a bit. So it can be tricky because you think you're lined up with this like mark here, but then you actually overextend. And you have to do it in such a small period of time. It's easy to mess it up, or like you have to adjust too much, and then you lose time on punching him. There is a window where Minotaur arrives, and you can't hit him, and then like a second later, it actually starts where you can hit him, and then there's a time gap between you start hitting him and when he activates, or she. I don't know what gender, if any, the Minotaur is. So I have found an easy setup to be able to really just make sure you're in the right range every time. And that involves actually doing something counterintuitive and moving to the left first. So your backdashing is always going to be consistent. So I found that if I move to the left a little bit and then get my foot over this sword handle or this, get my legs in between these bones here, and I did 2 full backdashes and then tap right to turn around, that gets you in this range safely. You're not right at this green line, but you're pretty close. So you kind of get a nice safe zone consistently without the risk of accidentally going too far. You get hit, and it's not even like the damage you're taking, which is the problem. It's that you get knocked backwards, you can't attack him quickly, and then by the time you do start attacking him, it's too late. He'll move back, he'll start attacking, and now you're just in a world of pain, and the fight's it's not that it's over, but it's really challenging. Even if you get through it, you've probably taken more time than you would have needed to. So I like this idea of use the consistency of the backdashes and do full ones. Like don't mash backdash, just like backdash, backdash, tap and turn, and you'll be set up for success. So that's what's really just covered here. The if your strength is exceptionally low and you either fear that Minotaur is going to get away from you or you want to have a good amount of safety, I like the idea of equipping a throwable item to just finish him off if you can't get that final blow on. So like a javelin or a shuriken, like anything you've got. Screen clearing items are great. And there's a couple more items that work really well, which you can use to start the fight. So I'm going to talk about the bottom one first. So dynamite and TNT are both useful, and you want to throw those out right when the fight, or right when you start punching, and he's taking damage. Throw it out right away because it takes like a second or two to activate. The only thing that sucks about dynamite and TNT is that like at random they may not work. Like the TNT gets thrown out, or the dynamite and the wick starts going and it doesn't explode. It's a thing within the game, and it happens. It's unfortunate. So you may not get the benefit of it. But what's really cool is that Monster Vial 1 and 3 are really, really good in this fight. And the reason why they're really good is that the monster that pops out has touch damage. And it works against enemies. And the enemy, in particular this boss here, both is not moving and doesn't have recovery iframes. Like, it's just going to constantly take damage. It's not enough to kill by itself, but it's a shoo-in. Like, you punch like 3 times, the monster vial does all the rest of the work, right? And it looks super badass when you kill him, and this guy's just like smiling here in a big pillar of flame. That should be somebody should make a an emote for this, by the way. They'd be really sick. So Monster Vial's fantastic. Monster Vial 2 is bad, but Dynamite Monster Vials or just offhanding a throwable in case he gets away, all great stuff. So that's how we're going to deal with Minotaur. And then with Werewolf, what we're going to do, if we go back to the general strategy here, is we're going to, after we kill Werewolf, we'll likely get a level up. During the level up fanfare, we're going to hold the up button, and then that's going to have it so that when the fanfare is over, we're immediately charging a Tetra Spirit. And then once Werewolf, he's going to step forward, he's going to do a couple of punches, and then he's going to go into his cross-screen like charge attack. And when he does that, we're going to do a Tetra Spirit. And the reason we're doing that is that's going to both deal damage to Werewolf, and because the last movement for that spell is down, we're also going to be in a ducking position. And ducking the charge attack by itself lets us avoid it. It's not like an iframe thing. You just get to go. He just sails over your head essentially. You can even punch through it while you're ducking, and you will hit him even though he's not going to hit you for a bit of extra bonus damage. So the Tetra Spirit's going to do damage. Our punching will, and then after he goes above us, we can move forward a bit and continue to punch him, and he's probably going to die from there. And at that point, you've essentially killed both with essentially no risk. That's how the glitchless strategy works. Although glitchless likely doesn't need to even think about use items or monster vials, because glitchless is getting to this point in the game a little bit later. You've already gone to at least the outer wall. You've gotten some more experience. Your strength's likely higher. But what are we going to do if Werewolf lives through all these things? Especially like if let's say and this happens to me a lot of the times, you go to do the Tetra Spirit and you screw it up, right? Like maybe you duck the damage, but you still didn't get the spell off, right? We didn't hold up long enough. We messed up on the inputs, etc., right? So even in this case, this fight really is still free. So the thing is, Werewolf is not a threat at all if you just keep your distance from him. Werewolf wants to fight you, like in your face. He wants to be close to you. So let's look at all his attacks here. So he's gonna do a jump straight up in the air. He's gonna like turn into a ball, go up, and then crash down. It's gonna do this like AOE fire attack, but it's close range. He's gonna do punches. You could duck them if you're close, but you don't even need to do that. It's gonna slide. There is a projectile attack, but the projectile goes in an upward angle, so you don't even have to duck it most of the time. It's just gonna sail over your head especially if you're on the other side of the room. So it's not a threat at all. There is the cross-screen horizontal air charge, which is the attack that he does second, which is the one we're going to duck and do the Tetra Spirit for. You can either duck it or jump it, either way. The only thing that's potentially a threat is he does the same cross-screen attack, except he does it bald. And like when I mean bald, like if you've played Street Fighter, you know how Blanca does the essentially roll air attack. It's kind of the same thing. You can't duck it, and that can hit you, so you'd have to jump that one. And that's really the only threat, and you can see it coming a mile away. So you could essentially live in this fight forever as long as you just stay away from Werewolf. And so the way we're going to finish him, if he were in this case, is just finish him with spells. Like, he's hard to kind of get into, especially if you only have your fists. And so why get close? Tetra Spirit's amazing, and even if you got into this fight early, you're going to have enough MP to do a couple Tetra Spirits. Generally, 2 casts will do it, or if not a third, depending on what your intelligence looks like. But it's a very safe fight. The biggest thing is just to not panic. If things go wrong, in your mind, you just need to be thinking, well, I need to kill Minotaur. Like, I hard need to do that because having to deal with 2 of them is very challenging. But if I've gotten rid of Minotaur, then I just need to play keep away with Werewolf, and then I'm going to be fine. So enough with the jibba jabba here. Let's actually look into this. So I've used a Nimble Seed because I get Bat right away, and that gives me access to the fight, but we won't be using Bat. So you can see here my strength 16. I'm not using any items, no armor or anything. My defense is 2, so I'm gonna get rocked pretty hard if worst comes to worst. But let's go get him. So first we'll showcase the normal fight, and I'm going to show you, so you can see it right here where the sword and these bones are. I'm going to be putting Alucard in this position after I skip the cutscene in order to backdash twice and get into a good zone. We'll then finish off Minotaur. My strength's relatively weak, so I might have to move forward with him a bit, and then we'll get the Tetra Spirit in the go, and we'll finish off Werewolf. Ha 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 ha. So we just step forward, 1, 2. Start punching, see we're in a really good range here. You gotta walk forward a bit, but we got him. Start charging. Oh, I didn't pull it off, but hey, this is a good example. Just back off here, right? Messed up the Tetra Spirit. He's just gonna do his thing. I'm just gonna throw out spells. That's the only one I need to worry about, and I missed it, but still, we're fine. Throw this up, and he's gonna die here. No problem. So let's try that one again. Hopefully we'll get it. I was probably a little too far away from the hitbox to keep her going. That one's a bit better here. Might have to walk forward again. My strength's kind of garbage. Hold up. Spell. There we go. And now I can just even just stand here and punch him because I was close enough because I moved closer to the right because Minotaur got away from me a bit. So that's how that works here. So let's just demonstrate here live how this works. I'll grab this. So when the fight starts here, just move forward slightly. My foot's over the sword. 1, 2, turn. And if I start punching, you can see my foot is like right over that skull. And that's going to give me not the perfect range. Like I could probably be a pixel or 2 over. But like this is a fairly safe range to be able to consistently do the fight. And as long as you kill Minotaur, then you can essentially deal with Werewolf. So the only one thing we're going to show after, or just in addition, because it's fun, is let's bring out the Monster Vial. And of course, having offhanding any other throwable is great too, in case Minotaur gets out of the way. Move over, 1, 2. Throw the Monster Vial, punch this guy, and like, look at this. Those last hits was just the skeleton doing the work there. Well, you got away, but here we got hit. And you see I took a ton of damage, really like 24, so that's pretty significant. So you definitely don't want to get hit by him. But actually, one more thing here. Let's actually prove this here. So let's let Werewolf get away. And we're not going to panic. Punching this guy. Oh no, he gets away. Werewolf's coming. Oh shit, right? So he's just going to do his thing. He anticipates me trying to fight him, or at least his AI is. So I'm just going to keep backing off. I think he's going to do the ball attack next. I think generally after he does the charge, he does the ball. Oops, that's not what I want. Now, oh no, he's just doing the charge. Okay. Here we go. But see, like I'm just backdashing. Keeping a distance. He's throwing things over my head. Jump with the 4th attack here. It's all wonderful. Just casually throw out some Tetra Spirits, right? And all I need to do is play keep away. As long as I'm away from him, nothing bad will happen. I got hit there. I could have ducked that one, but I fucked it up. Here we go. And rip. So 2 Tetra Spirits is all I needed. I didn't punch him at all. If your intelligence is a bit lower, like right now, mine's 20, although I leveled up twice. I think I started the fight at level 7 and now I'm level 11, so I probably didn't have 20 the whole time. But we got it done, and it's not a threat at all. And our defense is only 2, right? So, in short, you can win this fight no problem. And if the fight gets out of hand, especially if you can as long as you can kill Minotaur, everything else is fine. You can avoid Werewolf, you'll live. Just don't panic and back off, and just let your spells do the work for you. It's much slower to accidentally die than it is to like take a few extra seconds to make sure you avoid his attacks, and then you just casually Tetra Spirit whenever you feel like it, and buddy will be dead. So that's it for this one. As always, if I've screwed something up or you've got other insights, share them in the comments. I'll pin anything that is very useful or fixes any of my mistakes. And otherwise, we'll see you in the next video. Cheers, eh? Till then.